There's more than 100 human diseases that are caused by a missing protein. You're missing something that's causing you to be sick.
And some at the U of I are hoping they're on track to help with one of them. Researchers have been working on a cystic fibrosis treatment for more than a decade.
Yeah, it involves a drug that's already approved for people, and now they're finally ready to test it. WCIA3's Jessica Coons is with us. So, Jessica, this could be huge.
Paul, this has the potential to help thousands of people. In fact, unlike other options for cystic fibrosis, this treatment could help everyone who has it.
What it does is helps vibrate the gunk in the lungs.
Sarah Bolton's everyday routine isn't like most fourth graders.
We have this vesting that kind of pounds on my chest, and also we kind of have these different medicines on a mask that I breathe in while I'm doing it.
We do it once or twice a day.
Bolton has cystic fibrosis. It's a genetic disease caused when a specific protein isn't functioning and leads to problems in the lungs. Those range from infections to difficulty breathing. Here's Sarah's take on having CF.
Very annoying, definitely different. Sometimes I kind of like some of the different things, kind of like the walks. The walks are really fun, but most of the things, like all the medicines and that stuff, I'm like, why do I have to have cystic fibrosis?
Bolton's mother, a science professor, understands her daughter's frustration.
There are a lot of drugs right now that are in clinical trials and that have come to market that can help fix some forms of that broken protein. So these medications work for some patients. None of them right now are working for Sarah and her mutations.
But researchers in Central Illinois are working on something that has the potential to change Bolton's life.
So we are committed to trying to do everything we can to find out as fast as possible and as safely as possible if this can be helpful for people with CF.
U of I professor Marty Burke was inspired to find a cystic fibrosis treatment when he was in medical school and talking about CF with a woman who had it.
And at some point in the conversation, she stopped me and said, "It sounds like you know exactly what the problem is. Why can't you fix it?"
That moment was life-changing.
Could we replace her missing protein with a small molecule surrogate, so a drug-like molecule that would do what the protein was supposed to be doing, almost like a prosthesis on the molecular scale?
Researchers at the U of I have found what could be a treatment. It involves a product that's already approved by the FDA. It's used to help with fungal infections, but after years of working with it in the lab, they found it could also help fight lung infections. Patients like Sarah and her mother are cautiously optimistic.
There have been other medications we've been excited about that have looked really, really good through phase 1 and 2 clinical trials. When it got to that big phase 3 trial where they looked at a lot of patients, it just wasn't as we had anticipated. So we're really keeping our fingers crossed.
Burke, who's been working on this since 2005, knows what's at stake, and he's hoping for the same outcome as the Boltons.
All the data we have thus far is not showing this can work in people yet. It's all done in the lab and in pigs. But the data we have thus far gives us a lot of hope and optimism that there may actually be potential here.
The U of I worked closely with the University of Iowa over the last few years on this project. They're still trying to figure out how those clinical trials will work, but we'll let you know when those start. Paul?
All right, Jessica, thanks. Now, there's a lot of science behind this possible treatment, and we're going to have a deeper breakdown of how this works and how this project was paid for. You can find all of that on WCIA.com.
Finding qualified